Hey everyone, let's look at chapter 16, review questions. So I picked up some questions from your set of homework questions and we can go over these questions. Look at question number 4. They're telling me the reserve ratio is 25%. The commercial bank has excess reserves of how much? So the reserve ratio is always gonna be on the checkable deposits. So if the reserve ratio is 25%, the required reserves is gonna be 25 over 100 of 240. This comes out to be equal to 60. And what we just found out here is called the required reserves. And this one is basically the actual reserves. And the difference between the actual and the required reserves, this is the excess reserves, and this is equal to $12. And this is how you solve these problems. All right, let's go to question number 6 here. It's telling me the numbers in parentheses labels the aggregate demand curves. So this is the aggregate demand curve model. This one, I have the money supply model where the money supply curves are intersecting the money demand curve. Over here I have the investment demand curve. It says the money supply is increasing from $80 to $100. That's the first answer choice here. The MPC is 0.8. So whenever you have this MPC here, you can find out the value of the multiplier. This is equal to 1 minus 1 over 1 minus 0.8. So that's 1 over 0.2. This one's equal to 5. All right, let's see what's going on here. When money supply is increasing from 80 to 100, the interest rate is going down. The investment demand is increasing from 40 to 50. So my investment increases by 10. All right. The multiplier is equal to 5. So I have my aggregate demand increasing by 10 times 5, which is equal to 50. So that's why my answer choice will be A. Okay. All right. Question number 7. We do not have any calculations here. It says the money supply increases from MS1 to MS3. Why would the money supply increase? It's because of expansionary monetary policy, and the tool here is purchasing US securities in the open market operations. Okay. All right, next one. The interest rate is 4% and the Fed desires to reduce or eliminate, demand pull inflation. That means it is using a contractionary monetary policy. So what happens in a contractionary monetary policy? So contractionary monetary policy, the interest rate should increase. It's not going to go down. So it's going to be this one here. Interest rate increases from 4% to 6%. Okay. All right, the next one we have here is an expansionary monetary policy. The interest rate is 8% here. that is associated with the investment demand of 20. Now the government wants to, the goal of the Fed is full employment output of QF. Just remember, monetary policy, there is no role of the government. Fiscal policy, government plays an active role. Monetary policy, only Fed is allowed to use monetary policy. Okay, so something to do with the interest rate here. The interest rate needs to go down. All right, so my full employment output happens when aggregate demand is equal to this one, 82, which is associated with an investment of 30. An investment of 30 is associated with an interest rate of 6%. But right now the interest rate is 8%. So the Fed should use an expansionary monetary policy, lower the interest rate from 8% to 6%. Okay. All right. The next question is very straightforward. It says the reserve requirement is 20%. What is the money multiplier? Money multiplier is equal to 1 over reserve requirement, 1 over 0.20. This is equal to 5. Okay. All right, let's look at either question 18. This is also similar to this question here, question 13. All right, question 13, let's look at this. It says the reserve requirement is 10%. They are asking us to find the excess reserves. Always remember the reserve requirement is from the checkable deposits. So my required reserves is equal to 10 over 100 times 600. This is equal to 60. My actual reserves is also equal to 60. My excess reserves, which is equal to the actual minus required, in this example will be equal to 0. So that's the answer here. Okay. Now I want to look at question number 24 and 25. Question number 24, they have what happens when money supply increases by 20 billion. All right, first I need to know what's the equilibrium interest rate. So if I add the transaction demand for money and the asset demand for money, that means these two together, I'm going to get the total demand for money, and this is going to be equal to the supply of money, which is fixed at 460. So initially my interest rate is equal to 8%, because if I add 220 plus 240, this sums up to 460. Now they're telling me the money supply increases by 20. That means instead of 460, the money supply is going to be 480 throughout. So what happens to the interest rate? So this one matches up, which is 6%. Like if I add 220 and 260, this adds up to 480. So when money supply increases, the interest rate decreases, and it's gonna go down by 2 percentage points. Okay, so this is like the monetary policy, the initial basic concept of monetary policy. When money supply goes up, interest rate goes down, investment goes up, aggregate demand goes up. All right, question 25 here. Actually, question 25 should come before question 24. They're asking us to find the equilibrium interest rate. Basically, this is going to be equal to 8% because the money supply is 460. If you add transaction demand for money, asset demand for money, these two adds up to 460. So your equilibrium interest rate is 8%. Okay, thank you.